The next guy, I think his name is Troy. He's like
Wait,
one of
where'd you put
Carver's
the last guy?
main. What?
Where'd you put the last guy?
I put him in meh. Um, I think the next guy is Troy. He's one of Carver's goons. Um, I mean, he's really annoying and stupid.
Okay.
I think that he's pretty sucky. He doesn't have any kind of fleshed out personality. He barely has a personality. And then Jane shoots him in his private region, and he gets consumed.
Bleeding Sucky.
Um, no, no, I put him between Duck and Gabe. I definitely like him more than Gabe, but I still give Duck benefit of the doubt for the sucky category. Next guy, 400 Days. I think his name is Vin. No, I'm not positive. Um, he is meh as well. He's not irrelevant. He's also above Ava.
Where
Above Ava.
Jane.
Jane. We made it to Jane.
She's
Jane
kind of a
is
badass.
she's super interesting. I remember when the episodes were releasing, she before everything that happened at the end, I really, really liked her. Um, I thought she was an awesome addition, super cool character, especially to show up so late game. I really liked the bonding that she had with Clementine in the episode 4
Mhm.
after they finally break out. However, the route that Jane decides to take is one that I dislike quite a lot.
I
She's
agree.
It was such a strange thing to do in such a tense situation. She said, "Oh, why don't I put the newborn in a random freezing car in the middle of winter and then pretend to Kenny that the baby has died to provoke a reaction in an incredibly tense situation right after Clementine has been shot?" I'm sorry, can't
Very,
justify that
very.
kind of behavior. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
I know what she was trying to do, right? You get it. Like she wanted to show Clementine what Kenny was capable of. But all of us knew Kenny's capable of murdering someone. That's not like some What? Kenny murdered someone over something that didn't necessarily have to be murderable? What? Can't believe Kenny would ever do that. Go fuck yourself. So stupid.
I agree. I would put her at the top of C tier for that.
Um okay, no. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let's don't shoot her that far down. Reason being because
Okay.
she's got a lot more going for her than Eleanor and Marlon and Kate. And and
And Trip.
honestly, and Trip too. Um and
Yeah,
and
okay.
and Ben and Krista. I would put her behind David because she is really cool up until that moment. She has awesome backstory, awesome character development, whole
Oh,
9 yards.
she does have a crazy backstory. I do remember that. I don't remember what it was about. I just remember being like, she had a really rough backstory, if I remember.
It was with her sister. She was like dragging her sister all over trying to survive, and then the one day her sister was like, "I'm done. Just leave me to die." Terrible.
Yeah.
But I think that she goes behind David in so
Okay.
she's in it got a decent spot in B. But yeah, she's not A because fuck that. Fuck Jane for that. So annoying. Ruined her character.
Is this Jesus?
Yes. Jesus, again, another person from the comics. Awesome. He serves something to the story, unlike Glenn. Um, and he probably, I mean, it's so hard because I'm like trying not to go off. Like I think he's in A tier. He's a great character.
Yeah. I think that we can put him in A because he's for the amount of time that you see him and the purpose that he serves, the feeling that you get, which is just badass cool. I mean, like when you get a character that puts that much of an impact on you in that little amount of time, I think you can justify A.
True. Kind of like Chuck.
I would say bottom. Maybe above Chuck. I don't know.
No, I think he's
No.
above Chuck. I think that's a good
Okay.
spot for him. Next, this guy's from 400 Days. He annoyed me, and I'm tempted to put him in Sucky, but technically he's just irrelevant, so he can go in irrelevant. And then we have Lily.
I think Lily's a great character.
I think that they ruined her return. She was a great character in season one, and there was a lot of potential. I'll give you a fun fact about Lily. When Jane shows up, um, when they have the shootout in episode 5 of season 2, Jane had just left, and then she comes back. She like stabs that guy in the back of the head, and he drops, and you see that it's Jane, and you're like, "Oh, Jane's back." That was written originally to be Lily, and then that final fight, what happens between Kenny and Jane, was supposed to be Kenny and Lily. The writers changed it because they said the decision was too easy if it was Lily, because most people disliked her, so they would probably stay loyal to Kenny in that instance. But they figured Jane was a lot more difficult of a decision. Personally, I think it should have been Kenny and Luke. I think that would have made more sense and been harder for players because Luke was so nice to you and treated you well and wasn't mentally insane like Kenny gets to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would still pick Kenny because he's league goaded. But regardless, yeah, Lily's cool. They ruined her in season 4 by not exploring her character properly. But yeah, I don't know. I
I don't
don't
know
know.
either.
She's
I,
probably bottom of A tier. I think she's got a
I
lot more
was.
going for her than David, and she was
I would agree
cool in
with that.
season 1. Her like breakdown after her dad's death and being leading the group and stuff. Tension with Kenny, all of it. Great build up. It was good. I liked it. I liked it. A lot of the season 1 characters I have soft spots for, maybe a little bit of bias because it's one of the best video games ever to exist. This doctor is irrelevant. He's
I
just a
agree.
drug addict
Where
doctor from season 3. He's got the guy with glasses. He's just gonna go in irrelevant.
are we
Um,
irrelevant?
what'd you say?
Are we like putting positions in irrelevant or not really?
I am, but I'm gonna send you this whole thing at the end. You don't really need to be tracking the exact positioning. Um, it's more
It helps
so.
me decide where we're
Oh, all right.
putting people, but it doesn't irrelevant. Carly.
Harley's cool.
I like Carly's cool, but she's not that cool.
She's
I don't remember her. I don't remember her having a ton of development and or backstory.
um, no, she doesn't have much of either. I think that she's cool to Lee. She's the reason if you don't keep her alive, you can't tell everybody that you killed someone, which then is bad because then Lily reveals it and everyone's like, "What?" But if you keep Carly alive, she convinces you to do that and kind of becomes like a like quasi love interest. Um, Carly was. I remember when I first played through, I really liked her and I was shocked by her death. Um,
I
I would,
I
I would,
was floored
yeah, it's
when
pretty crazy.
Lily absolutely domed her. I was floored. That was like one of the biggest reveals. That was one of the biggest shock factor moments for me in season one.
Yeah, it was really crazy. I remember playing through it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What?" Um, I would put
I
her.
would. I'm looking at Ben right now
She's
and
a
Trip.
well. Okay, I'll give you my like guaranteed. She's above. I think she's above Jane. Use that as your marker.
I don't think she's above David.
Well, that's where I was. What I was. Where I. my brain shot to is between David and Jane.
Okay. Because you're right, she does make a big impact on Lee. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Next is Katja, who I think is sucky. I think she's very sucky.
I agree.
She, I don't even want to give her the benefit of the doubt. She left Kenny in a horrible world, familyless. Instead of bearing it out, she made Kenny go into the woods and see his dying son and then her dead body right next to him. Horrible. So she's gonna go in sucky at the very
I'd put her
bottom.
below at the very bottom.
Nah, not really. She'll go. She's gonna be above Gabe, but
Okay.
it really bothers me. It also I feel bad that Kenny's entire family's in the sucky tier, but um, Gabe's sister. She's not around often. She's not around much, but I liked her when she was around. Um,
I liked when she was around too. I'd put her in meth though.
yeah,
Or
probably
top
is
of meth.
probably makes sense for her to be there because she was cool, but she really, yeah. All right, Mark. Mark was annoying. Um, if you tell him, like, if you say, he'll like prompt you to say bad things about Larry in season two. I mean, in season one, episode two. And if you like chop the shit with him and like say bad things about Larry in response, Mark will then tell Larry you said that, even though he goaded you into saying it. And it's like, wow, what the hell, you suck. Um, so yeah, I don't really like Mark. I think that he's sucky and he's like weird and yeah.
I don't remember Mark at all.
Okay, that's
Nothing's
good. What do I have? Put him in meh or not meh, sorry. Put him in sucky. Above uh above Troy, below Duck. Because Duck sucked for different reasons. Who's next? What the hell was this guy's name? Mitch, I think. He is irrelevant. He's from season four. He ends up dying. He's not like that important. All right, Molly. Molly's one of those ones that I'm surprised they never brought back or used again because she didn't never died. She just went. She left the group. Um, Molly was cool. Not much I could say about her really, but she was an interesting character. The whole ice pick thing was really like unique, and I thought it was nice that she had a soft spot enough to help uh, Lee and Kenny because of Clementine. Also, if you don't do the quick time events, she beats your ass, which is funny. But do you remember her?
I don't remember
She helps them when they go to Crawford.
when they sneak in.
Yeah, she's with them for that. And she helps them.
I vaguely remember that.
She kills that one or not kills, but in a secret there's a secret videotape you can find where it's shown that she's actually sleeping with the doctor to get medicine for her secretly sick sister. I think I showed you the secret tape. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say Molly should be in B, and I think Molly is the way Jane. She's a cooler Jane, in my opinion. I think she's the way Jane should have been. I would put her between Jane and Carly in B. You don't really remember her, but I promise you that's a pretty. She's a cooler Jane. She's Jane without the flaws. badass woman character, knows how to kill, and she's kind of closed off to the group and feelings, but she doesn't have all those sucky attributes.
Hmm.
Next, this guy is he's from 400 Days, and he's irrelevant. Next guy, Arvo. Arvo, the worst Ben. That's what I like to call him. He's how they could have done Ben wrong because he was annoying and he sucked. And
What season?
that's season 2. He's the Russian. He shoots Clementine.
Oh, this kid. Yeah, I hate this kid.
Yeah, he's sucky. And yeah, the fact that he shoots Clementine is insane. And the fact that he tried to get all of them killed in the first place, like the whole thing. Even, and this is important, if you rob him, then he comes back and tries to kill you. Fine. And that's what I did. In my second playthrough, I didn't rob him because I said, not worth robbing him to go into a shootout. He still does it, even if you let him go without a scratch. He still brings his group and he still tries to kill you and rob you of your shit, regardless. He just sucks. So you can't use that argument. Oh, you robbed him. Nope. You could treat him like gold. Still tries to kill you. So Arvo sucks. Also, he's a point of contention with the group and Kenny because Kenny beats the shit out of him because he sucks and the group gets mad for some reason.
I
So
remember that.
Arvo is going to go in Sucky and he will go behind Gabe but above Minnie because yeah. Bonnie. Let's do Bonnie and Mike at the same time because I
Mini?
think that they're in the same category. What'd you say?
Mike?
Um, so
Isn't
it
that
goes the order that you're looking at them is Bonnie and then Luke and then Mike.
right?
Bonnie and Mike help Arvo. And depending on choices,
Suck.
when Clementine gets shot, Bonnie just looks at you and just leaves you. Well, she leaves you in either way. If you try to save Luke before he dies, Bonnie will be like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry" when you get shot. If you don't try to save Luke, then she just won't really care that you got shot because she's mad at you. Either way, Bonnie sucks. When you first in 400 days, she already sucks. Then she gets introduced again, and she takes food from you and leads Carver to you, and she sucks. Then she tries to go on this redemption arc thing and ruins it because she's in love with Luke, who does not reciprocate the feelings, and she ends up helping Arvo with the help of Mike, which is why I group them together because Mike also sucks just as much. He's cool at first, and then he just all down the drain, helping Arvo nearly murder Clementine, a kid, over nothing. And then the three of them escape together. So I think they both go in Sucky.
I agree. Where are you putting them?
Bonnie, especially. I put Bonnie fucking below Arvo, man. Mike had some redeeming qualities at least, but he still sucked. I put him below Duck. All right, Luke.
Next, I I think Luke is a strong contender for S tier. But do you think I'm crazy?
Um, no, no, I don't think you're crazy. I think Luke could be there. It's tough because he was always nice, but he didn't wow me, I guess. Like Carver wowed me. I guess that wow factor is just not there for me with Luke, you know. It was obvious
I
that he
like
was. Yeah, go ahead. You. How about you try convince me?
okay, so here's the deal. Luke's biggest problem is that he's too trusting and too kind. And that's tough because you can call him naive, but it's really hard to survive being naive in the zombie apocalypse world. So I don't think that he is naive. I just think that he's generally a good person, literally to a fault. If I'm not mistaken, that's what gets him killed. And like, sure, he's like this like kid, like younger guy, and like he kind of falls for Jane or whatever, and like they have that like thing or whatever. I don't know if that's if that's optional or not, but at the end of the day, like he's like he probably would have. I don't remember if he does do this if he dies for Clementine, but I remember that he would like he would risk his life for her, and that says a lot about his character in terms of being a person.
Sure. Um, he can be an S tier. I like what you said about you don't remember if he did, but he would, and you're right. He would die for Clementine, so I'll put him at the bottom of S. He's kind of like second Lee, but way worse. Next is Nick. Man, Nick is sucky, in my opinion. He's miserable. Even before the bad shit happens to him. He nearly shoots your face off when you first meet him, and
Mhm.
then you get trapped in a room with him depending on your decisions. You either go with him or Pete, and he's miserable the whole time. And then you continue on, and he's miserable. And then you tell him not to shoot, and he kills Walter's partner, and that fucks shit up. And then he's just miserable again. And if Walter doesn't kill him, he ends up dying in season 4, and it's so stupid. The whole thing, he
My
sucks.
only yeah, my point with Nick would be like, dude, you're in a zombie apocalypse. I keep saying that, but you are. Like, there's enough misery to go around. All right. You can be like stoic, you can be cold, you can be icy, you can be like closed off, but just to be miserable and to like roll around in the woe is me, like, bro, if you want to have yourself a pity party, then sit in the woods and die. Like, they're like, you are better off not dragging the rest of the people around you down constantly. That's already annoying enough to deal with currently in like the real world that we live in, Tony. To deal with that when you're fighting every day for your life, trying not to get eaten alive by rotting corpses. I'm good, bro. Like, fuck off. Walk east until you hit water.
Yes. And then the opposite of him, Pete, who was not like that. Pete was normal and cool. I think that he could easily lead C tier as a slightly above average, but still very cool guy. Actually, I lied. What I want to do is I want Eleanor to be in C, and then I want Pete to go into B instead, because that makes more sense in my mind.
I like Eleanor.
Well, then fine. For the moment, Pete will go in B tier, and we will put him above um, above Trip, one box above Trip, and below one box below Ben. If Pete was around longer, he would have been higher because he
I'm okay.
was what?
I'm okay with that.
Um, Rebecca
Stinky doo doo.
Sucky, right? Gotta be. I mean, she
Stinky
cheats
doo
on her
doo.
husband with the villain, and then leaves you with AJ.
And hates Clementine.
To all right, to be fair, she only hates Clementine really for episode 1. After episode 1, she gets a bit more normal, and by episode 4 she like relies on you. So, it's more so I really don't like her the cheating on Alvin thing and her being insufferable in the beginning. Those two things combined were really really annoying, and she brought nothing to the table. Full blown burden because she cheated, probably. I think it's Carver's personally, which makes her a burden based on a horrible act, which makes it even more
Right.
annoying. So
Where are
she
we
sucks.
putting her and Sucky?
Below Mike.
Like is the air or below Mike? No, like yeah.
Okay, Sarah. Oh boy, she's a Gabe slash Duck character.
Oh yes, yes, she is. I remember this now.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was Carlos's daughter.
I left her to die. I didn't save her. Like I didn't do the slapper to save her. I let her die.
You have to.
Yeah,
Like
she sucks, Sarah. God.
in a real situation like that, that person will get you killed.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um, where are you putting her?
I'm gonna put her between Nick and Mike.
Below Rebecca?
Rebecca is behind Mike. Remember, don't get hung up on the order. I'm telling you, I'm gonna send you the whole
Fine,
thing at the end. As
fine.
long as they're in the right category, it doesn't really matter as much the order for what you
Fair
need
enough.
to know. Um,
Fair enough.
Sarita, I think meh.
I I disagree with that, and here's why. She helps Kenny so goddamn much when he is alone in the world, and you can tell that like after he loses Sarita, that's when like he just can't fucking hang. But when you meet him with Sarita, he's really given it a second shot. He's really given life a second shot. He has purpose, he's meaning, he's not a piece of shit. Like he's really, really trying. Apocalypse takes a lot of like that takes a lot of work. And she's a kind person. I don't think she's meh. I think she's at least C tier.
Okay. Um, I'll give you that. Actually,
I'd put
I'll
her behind Carlos.
now if we're putting her in a tier, I think she should be ahead of Rosie,
Oh, point.
but she can still be behind Doug. Okay. Um, all right, the St. Johns. We'll group them together because they're practically the same person. The St. John brothers. I don't think that they're sucky, um, and I don't think that they're mad because they are still interesting villains because they act. I don't know what you'd call it, sociopath or psychopaths, but they act super friendly and fairly normal up and feed you and then try to eat you. So it's really interesting that switch.
I don't remember either of their names.
Um, one of them is Andy. But they're the St. John brothers. That I know for sure. So that's fine. I'll just group them, and I think that they could be. They're fucking more interesting than Vernon. I put them between Vernon and Abel together. Okay, our guy Larry.
Larry.
Oh yeah,
I like Larry a lot.
I think I
He's
think
a.
Larry is an A tier personally.
I would agree with that. I would put him even above Alvin.
Yeah, me too because he's a lot more interesting, and I like that he sticks to his guns. He's strong, and he's funny. You know, he's annoying because he goes against Lee, but for the most part, he's actually like he's annoying, but never was there a time when I was like, I hope Larry dies soon. You know, like when a
Yeah.
character is really annoying because they go against you and you're like, oh, like hopefully they are removed from the story. I never thought that about Larry, and I think that speaks to his character because he still like was like weirdly charming in a way.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. A brick shithouse, as some might say. Um, he's got redeeming qualities, and like you said, he does have charm. I like him. I like him too. I would put him in. We're putting him behind Amit.
Omid.
Omid.
Yeah. And the cow is going to go in irrelevant. Why the hell is it even on the list? I couldn't tell you.
Idea.
I mean, that is absurd.
Who are
Um,
these next two?
we don't even need to show the irrelevant category. Um, the next two, okay, first one is from 400 Days. She's not fully irrelevant. She's meh. So I'll throw her in there. And then I think her name is Shell. And then the next guy is from season 4, and I think he's completely irrelevant.
Okay.
Throw him like
What
right there. Um,
is this next guy? I can't remember his name. Is he the dude who learned how to like walk with the zombies?
yeah, I think his name is James.
I don't remember him. I think he's awesome. So cool. You don't see him a lot, but as a principal, like he doesn't like he's so weird and so strange. Like he doesn't even see the zombies as like inherently evil or harmful creatures. He's learned how to live peacefully with them, and I think that that's amazing. I think that that like adds for a fascinating character, even though he doesn't get a ton of development. Helps Clementine, like, and that scene where you're walking through the barn with all of them around you is one of the coolest scenes in season 4. It's very, very cool and very like it's weird. It almost feels like it should be out of place, but it isn't, and it works very, very well. I would, I would debate. I'd like top of B. I would even debate putting him at the bottom of A. I think just because of how interesting of a character he is.
I still think overall David's more interesting. Also because that concept of wearing the mask to walk with them, there's an entire group of people that do that in the show. That's what he's based off of in the comics. It's a group called the Whisperers. It's not like a unique thing because it's, at least to me, because I know what it's from. I know where they're pulling it from. So, with that said,
It
I
was
think like you can't put him too high in B. I would say the furthest that I would allow is between Molly and Jane. That's like the deepest because
really.
I mean he's definitely David is serves way more to the story and is more interesting because he's so nuts.
I see your point. I guess my point is like I haven't read the comics. I don't know about these whisperer people. And for me to see that in this game, like was judging it purely based off of the game was cool. It was very, very cool. Like in the game itself, if you don't know anything about The Walking Dead and you play this game and that's your introduction, he is fascinating.
Yeah, I don't think being fascinating beats out the personalities of everybody in B.
I think to some extent it
'Cause
does.
he was
But
fairly
okay.
dull, like when he actually spoke. Like he was just like, "No, don't kill things." And then if you killed things, he'd get mad at you. And that was his
That's a fair
entire
point.
thing. It was just kind of like, but I'm saying, listen, if it was up to me, he wouldn't be in B at all. So I'm saying if we're going to come to a compromise, I'd say deepest is between Molly and Jane. So if that's where
Okay.
you want him, I'll throw him there.
I would like that personally. I think he adds a lot to the story, and it's half the reason that like isn't he like how like Clementine like survives to some extent in the very end? She has to go through the barn again, right?
Yeah, but it's empty.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
all on the
that's right.
outside trying to get in.
That's right. Okay,
Lewis is next.
that's tier.
Um, yeah, I actually really, really like Lewis. He was my favorite from season, like my favorite introduced in season 4. And I really liked that Clementine was able to have a romantic relationship with him. And yes, he's very charming, he's very nice, and I'm totally cool putting him in S. Personally,
Would you put
I would put him above Luke, but not above Javi. What do you think?
I don't know. Because here's the thing. Like Lewis is one of the few characters, like a lot of times in video games, it's hard to write funny characters. Actually funny characters. Unless you're playing like a generally funny game. This is not a generally funny game. And most of his points, like he lands most of his jokes. Like that one scene where he's playing the piano and he's like starts singing to Clementine, and she's like, absolutely not. Very cute. I like Lewis a lot. I like him a lot. And he is like you can tell that he uses comedic effect to mask an overall like darkness and insecurity. And I think that that makes him a deeper character than Javi.
So you're thinking that he should be above Javi. I'm okay with that actually because Javi still pisses me off that he was the playable character in season 3. So I'll allow my bias to let Lewis be that high, but not higher than Carver.
Agreed.
So then we have these next the next 3 we can all pretty much group together. They're all just kids. Um Actually that's a lie. The next 2 are relevant. So they're going to be tossed in there. And then 10 is not irrelevant, but he's sucky. And you don't even remember
Doesn't
him.
10 I just remember 10 pulling some bullshit.
AJ ends up being able to kill him, so we can just throw him in sucky. Um,
I I like Violet a lot.
I think she's all right. Um, like her and Lewis being the 2 love interests, I think she's a lot less interesting overall, and she's a lot less fun to be around. She's kind of a mope, um, and she's really annoying towards you if she gets captured. Lewis is a lot more forgiving. Um, Violet is she's just super closed off and stuff overall. And I know she can open up if you go down the romantic path with her, but she didn't throw me by any means. She was fine, a fine character. You tell me where you think she should be.
I would put her also I'd like to make a revision. I'd like to move Jane up from the Whisperer guy.
You want Jane ahead of him?
Yes.
Okay.
James. As for Violet, I would probably put her behind Jane.
Um, I'm fine with that. I'll put her there. And the next one, two, three, four, five are all irrelevant. They really don't
I don't remember.
serve enough. The one is another kid from season 4. The next one is I think his name is Lonnie. I don't remember. One of them is the driver that Clementine shoots, I think. The next guy, so he's from Prescott, relevant. This girl's the leader of uh, the old woman is the leader of what's it called?
The New
New
Frontier.
Frontier. She's pretty much irrelevant. We're on our final 3. We're gonna save best for last. So the 2 behind him are from 400 Days. So I'll throw them in. It's Wyatt and Eddie, I think. Um, Eddie is meh, and Wyatt is meh also, but a little bit better meh. Okay, so that leaves our final person, Penny. So hold on. I'm showing the audience. They can't see you right now. But we know Kenny's obviously going to be goated. Literally one of the greatest characters written in fiction of all time. I think he'd probably be like, if I was making a list of top 10 fictional characters, that's video games, movies, literally all media to ever exist, he probably makes it in my top 10 best written ever.
Good.
Um, and I think that he's the best character in the game. I think that he's top tier, better than Clementine and Lee. And here's why. There's a lot of reasons why people love Lee and Clementine. And I'm not shitting on them right now because they're goaded. However, part of the reason that people like them so much is because you are controlling their decisions. So when you do your playthrough, part of the reason you like Lee is because he made all decisions you would make. Why? Because you controlled him, right? Not just that, but Lee has the capability to be vastly different. He could be a always go to for the kill every time murderer type guy. He could be a complete and utter asshole if you want him to be. It's up to you to decide what kind of character he is. And I think that Lee is more or can be like there's a route you take that makes him the most enjoyable, but there's also routes where he's not as enjoyable as he could be, right? The reason why I think Kenny is absolutely the most goated is because he is so well written without any player input at all. You don't, it doesn't, there's no player input. Kenny is a mirror of Lee, right? Kenny makes his decisions regardless of what you do. No matter what you do, he'll always do what he wants. The only thing that changes is whether he likes you at the end or not. Kenny goes by his own book, and the
Yep.
player cannot alter Kenny's behavior, which is so interesting because you can alter decisions of characters. Like pretty much every character, you can change something that they do, but Kenny, you just can't. The only thing you change is how much he likes you or not. But he always sticks by his guns and was so lovable without being. And also, again, another reason I give him credits, the guy's a fucking side character. He's not a main. Like, our goated tier has two characters you play as, and then Kenny, the only non playable character in the top tier. All of that together is why I think that he should be above Lee and should be considered the best character in the game. Now, I want you to say your piece and what you think and why.
So uh, there are two main points as to why I think it. I'll keep it pretty straightforward. Besides everything that you said, but the things that are do it for me is one. Penny is one of the most realistic characters in the game. He acts how a normal person would really act. Everyone else is unrealistically bad or unrealistically good. And there are some people where that's the point. You know, you look at Carver, his whole point is to be, and there are people like Carver who are truly just monsters. They often rise to power because they are monsters. But Kenny has an actual moral compass and he struggles with it. A lot of people don't seem to struggle with their moral compass. You can actively see that Kenny has a hard time controlling himself because of all the things that he's gone through. You see that development progress throughout seasons 1 and 2, and you see how he changes. But the changes don't change who he is at the base. They change how he interacts with the world, right? But at the end, you can still see how those actions came from the man that is Kenny. He's very like he's very well rounded. You know, he's an ass, but he he'll never talk behind your back. You know, like he'll talk shit to your face, but you need help. And you've helped him. Even if you don't help him, he will help you. He's well rounded. He's realistic, and I mean he's incredibly well written. The other thing I will say is that I would in the entire show. There's a lot of sad moments. The entire game. There's a lot of sad moments. There are a lot of really emotional moments. I was like, I had tears in my eyes. Like my eyes started to water when Kenny returned in the second season. When he showed up, I was like, that was, in my opinion, the most shocking moment in the entire series of
It's the
games.
best moment in the entire series. Best moment.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And you didn't
I would agree.
experience waiting
Best.
for it to come out, which I did.
I did.
Played season 2, they dropped episode by episode, and I remember watching YouTube theories and reading about Kenny and how the voice actor for Kenny recorded death lines for when it dies. He recorded death lines, and they actually called him back and asked him to redo it. And that's because they got rid of the death lines because they decided to keep Kenny. Kenny was supposed to die originally, for real. The actor fully recorded death lines. There were so many YouTube theories. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole about. I wrote it all on a notepad. I was like 12 about how like Kenny could be alive. Then season 2 finally released. Episode 1, no Kenny. Episode 2, when he shows up, it's the build up for me was just insane. And yes, you got to see it so much faster. It's even better with all that build up and theory diving and stuff.
No, I can only imagine. And it still meant that much to me. Like I make the hallmark of any good game if a game can really move that much emotion in you that you are like, you don't have to sob, you don't have to even cry, but like you are getting emotional to the point that like your eyes are water, you're getting like misty eyed. Like a point that I would describe that in is like the very end of the first God of War, the new God of War series, when they're like finally releasing um Kratos' wife's ashes on the mountaintop. That's one of the most beautiful scenes in video game history. It is so touching, and the emotional payoff is impeccable with this swelling soundtrack. If a game can move you to that degree, when the point is not to be an emotionally packed game, well, this one is, like, that is hard to do. It's hard to do. With movies, you can do it because you can like completely control what's going on. It's much harder to do it in a single hand experience, in my opinion, because you can't control you can't see the emotions on people's faces as well, especially not in old animation like this. You have to rely solely on writing, and that makes it much more impressive, in my opinion. And they do that, and that's like, congratulations. You For me, that's my like, you did it. You made it. And they did that in spades. I mean, Kenny really, like, he's a fantastic character. Even the bad things about him, I can't say a bad thing about him.
Hold on. My thing was you heard me, but the audience couldn't. Let me re-say that. I'm glad you said that because the next point that I was gonna bring up to go off what you were saying, because obviously we both love Kenny, so we're just gonna keep saying nice things about him. Is that
Kenny Glaze.
first? Yes, another reason why I think he's an amazing character is because, like I said before, if let's say you're on the fence about Lee, you might fall over the side of the fence because he's going to do all the things you want him to do. Whereas the only way to like Kenny is to accept how he's been written. And he objectively is kind of an asshole. And yet, like, the community as a whole loves this guy. He's recounted as easily, like, you and I think he's the best character in the game. I'd say 90% of the community would bare minimum put him top 5 best characters in the game. And that is without, there's no tilting over the fence. You accept Kenny for who he is, how he was written, and you love him, even though he can be such a dick and so rash. And you're just like, Kenny, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I literally got to the point where I said in my head, I'm like, I think I'm just going to always agree with this guy, even when he's wrong. Because, and that's the effect that these writers had on the player. They made you like someone so much that you found yourself agreeing with him and not even knowing why. because you felt some sort of loyalty to him as a character. He's not even fucking real. This is a fake, fictional person that you felt loyalty enough to where you sacrificed gameplay by agreeing with him just because you wanted to demonstrate loyalty to a fake character. That is why I think he's the best in the game.
I mean, what you just said is like it made me think of the idea that like it's like what you would do for a real friend in real life. That's crazy. That's insane that they've gotten to the point that they've written such a good character that you act the way you would with a real life person that is your real life friend because that's how much you like the guy. They have taken the fictional component of the decision making process out of the equation. And that's pretty, for one, that's a pretty cool sentence to say about a video game. But for two, it's a remarkable achievement. It's a remarkable achievement. Like hats off to Telltale. They really like rest in peace because they really knocked it out of the park with this. And it was a gamble too. That's another thing. Writing a guy like Kenny's a total gamble because if you flop, you're fucked. So like it's a high risk, high reward situation. Nailed it on the dot. It's like the perfect character.
It is
It's the
crazy,
perfect
like
character.
thinking about what you said, like the fact that yeah, they they wrote a character so well that you like at the end of the day you bought the game because you wanted to play something and you're like playing it differently
Yeah.
because of a fake it's not real, but you treat it like that. Yeah, like you said, where you said treating you they wrote him well enough to where you were treating him the way that you would treat somebody in real life, which is insane. Um so yeah, we're about to hit the 2 hour mark. So
Ooh.
it's gonna be a two-parter.
Okay.
Once we hit like 120, that's usually when I'm just like, fuck it. Once hits 120, I'm like, well, now we have to record to 2 hours because I can't split it in half unless it's an hour each. So once we hit that threshold, I didn't even care anymore because I knew it would end up being about 2 hours after that point. Um, so let's do a brief little overview of what we have here. Goated, we have our top three of Kenny, Lee, and Clementine. Doesn't surprise me at all. More or less what I expected it to be. Um, S tier, S tier surprises me a little, just because I actually didn't expect to see Luke, Luke and Javi both. I kind of had a feeling Carver and Lewis would end up here, but I wasn't sure about Luke and Javi. I think it could have swung either way, depending on our conversation. But those four, A tier, Omid. Actually, the A tier is I think the craziest one, like the most like, interesting. Omid, Larry, Alvin, Jesus, Chuck, and Lily.
Yeah.
Lily and Larry both making it into the same tier and it being that high is interesting because they're portrayed as such shitty characters. But again, it's that season one charm, man. Those characters are great. Then B tier, David, Carly, Molly, Jane, um, whatever her name is, Violet, James, Krista, Ben, Pete, Trip, Jane, not Jane, Kate,
Hey,
Marlon, and Eleanor. Wow, I got through all their names. C tier: Doug, Sarita, Rosie, AJ, Carlos, Walter, Abel, one the both the St. John brothers, and Vernon. Still got through all their names. This is where I was gonna start to lose it. Mariana, Reggie, Brody, Russell, Vin, Wyatt, Ava, Eddie, Shell, Brenda. I actually got through the whole Met here. Give me props.
well done.
Sucky, Duck, Nick, Sarah, Mike, Rebecca. Uh, what the hell is his name? Mark, Troy, um, Kenny's
Gotcha.
wife, Katja, Gabe, Ten, Arvo, Bonnie, Minerva, Bree. Boom! I got through the whole sucky tier too. Holy shit! This makes sense actually. I was able to name every character that was outside of the irrelevant category. So give me some props. Clap it up. That means I know the game.
You did very well. I
Thank you.
um I I will say this about these games. To anyone who's watching who hasn't played these games, play them. If you can't play them, watch them. They're worth watching at the very least. Or if you don't want to pay for them, which I also understand, they're old games, I would recommend it. I didn't pay for them. I played through with Tony, and he gave me some light suggestions. For the most part, I was in control of most of the decisions, you would say, right? You kind of let me
Um,
have that experience.
I did. I would say the most if he did not like Kenny as much, I would have forced him to like Kenny. That's the only thing I could say. Like if you said like no, I'm gonna disagree with Kenny every time, like I would have been like, no, you're not allowed.
No.
So we got
And
lucky there
I'm very glad that,
because that was the most important
yeah,
like decision. Everything else I let you pretty much determine on your own. I always held the remote just because I knew when all the Kenny important decisions were coming and I had to select them perfectly.
and the quick time events.
What?
And the quick time events.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because those did affect things if you fuck those up, which is so annoying.
Mhm.
So I held the remote. Alexon was in the room. It was a great experience. It was definitely very fun. I think going through it and sharing it with someone who hasn't seen it before is awesome. It's basically like watching a YouTuber play, but in real life.
Ah,
Like the reason you watch a YouTuber play is to see their reactions to shit. It's even cooler when you do it with somebody you know in real life. Way cooler than YouTube. Um, anyways, though, we got
yeah,
2 minutes till 2 hours, and I'm ready to go to sleep. So it's
same here.
almost
Yeah,
1 here.
yeah, we're on the same time zone, buddy.
I'm telling the audience.
Oh, shit.
I'll say thank you to Alexon for being willing. Most people don't like to record this late hour. Alexon was very accommodating, and I even decided not to go to the bar and shoot darts today like I wanted to make sure that I was could do this because I already canceled once, and I don't like canceling twice because that's what assholes do.
I appreciate that. Should you have told me that that you were planning on going to the bar and playing darts, I feel like I would have understood.
You would
But
have.
I do
I
appreciate
would get
you.
annoyed if somebody canceled on me twice in a row. I'd be like, "Nah, yo, come
Understand.
on." You know, at that point, I feel like if you make a commitment to something and you have to cancel it once, fine. Shit happens. But then you should be doing everything in your power to not have to cancel again. And I didn't have to go to the bar. So, yes. Um, we're going to end it off. We just hit the
Well,
2 hour mark. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're fans of the game, um, I think you should play again. I want to do another run soon in a little bit from season one. Um, yeah, I feel like I do it every 2 years or so. It's only been it has it been 2 years since we did it together? Yeah, because we didn't do
yeah.
it senior year. We did it
We
junior
did
year.
it the end of junior year, was it?
It was junior year. Yeah, so it's been I'm hitting the 2 year mark and I start to itch for it. I'm like, I need to play again. It's been too long. Same thing with Dead
You need
Rising.
your
I want to do another Dead Rising run soon. And The Last of Us. All of my games that I like replay every couple years are starting to pop up in my mind. But I just bought Oblivion remastered, so it's Elder Scrolls 4.
well, Tony, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun to talk and chat about things we're interested in. And I am excited to see what the next subject will be that I brought on here for. Maybe it'll be an in person.
It's gonna be One Piece. The next time I have you, that's what it's gonna be.
We're gonna get Tommy.
Or Grant. I don't care. One of them. We'll get an additional. I need to have somebody with full knowledge there, so
Both.
I'd love to get both. All right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, at this point, you're watching part two of this. I don't know when it came out. I don't know what episode this is. Could be 33 or 34 by this point. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before the part two because I aired part one as episode 29. Then Family Feud is probably going to be 30. And then it depends. This is either going to be 31 or 32. No matter what, I have 4 weeks worth of content stored up, so I don't have to film for a while. Thank God. I love filming. but it is fucking annoying when you have a full-time job as well and a girlfriend and a
Understandable.
gym schedule. All right. Bye. Hope you enjoyed. Peace. Peace, peace, peace.
Peace.
Blow it up. Make it famous or something. Click links if there's links.